Hello and welcome to the Non-Perfect Parents Club podcast. I'm Emma, a mama of 2 girls, an ex-nursery practitioner and the creator of the Non-Perfect Parents Club. The Non-Perfect Parents Club is all about support, honesty, truths, acknowledging that none of us can be perfect parents because it's impossible, and basically just speaking the unspoken. The only rule here is no judgment allowed. I love hearing people's stories. I love finding out about other parents, their family dynamics, their values and how they tick. So that is what this podcast is going to be. Some great honest conversations about parenting, hopefully delving into some nitty-gritty thoughts and feelings that will make us all laugh, cry and sigh a big sigh of relief. Hello and welcome back to the Non-Perfect Parents Club podcast. Today I'm joined by Rachael. Hi Rachael and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. So if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your family dynamic and any heritage.
I'm Rachael. I'm 34. I'm married and we have 2 children. A daughter, she's 13, and a son, he is 5, almost 6, and he has additional needs and was recently diagnosed with autism in September last year.
Right.
I grew up in the local area.
Yeah.
Come from a family of 4, my mum and dad and my sister. My husband, he's originally from Southampton.
Right.
And he moved up here with his family and many years ago now. But he comes from a lot bigger family than me. But yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
So the main rule of the Non-Perfect Parents Club is no judgment allowed. Have you ever felt judged in your parenting and can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I think I have. I've never had any direct sort of in your face telling me to my face.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that sprung to mind with this question was when I did become a mum. I was only 20 when I had Holly.
Yeah.
And I went to the local children's centre to sign up to the baby massage classes when she was a little tiny baby. Obviously you sit down with someone, they take all your details and everything.
Yeah.
And she was lovely, the lady, and I actually did know her. But she was like, well, there's a young mums class. Or like group, something like that. And she's like, would you like to sign up to that? And I just felt like, actually no, I don't want to be don't want to be labelled as a young mum. I just want to be a mum. I don't want to be put in that category. But looking back now, it might have been beneficial. You know, it might have been nice to meet other people of a similar age, maybe with a child, because a lot of people might class 20, nearly 21, that's how old I was when I had Holly, as being young.
Did you feel like a young mum?
I just felt like a mum.
Yeah.
I guess I was, but someone becomes a mum, doesn't matter whether you're 16, whether you're 20, whether you're 30, 40, you're a mum for the first time, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's
it.
And as much as that lady wanted to help, there was nothing. I just sort of felt.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be put in that category. You can
kind of feel that energy as well, don't you? Yeah.
But like I say, looking back, maybe it would have been beneficial, but I didn't go to the young mums club group. But
and I guess it depends how you perceive young mum as well. Like my own opinion, my perception is so I was 23 I think when I had my eldest, which at the time I didn't feel young. I didn't perceive myself as a young mum. And now looking back I think I probably was a younger mum, but I perceive a young mum as being really young. Like your teen where you're probably not quite ready to have children, but you've ended up in that situation. And so I guess it just depends on perception as well, doesn't it?
I guess moving on from that, another time more recently, I went in May. I went I took my daughter, my son, my mum and my sister. We went to York for a few days, and we went to the Eureka Museum.
Oh yeah.
And then with Isaac having autism, he was very overwhelmed. He absolutely loved it, but he was just zipping about everywhere. And then we went to our hotel, and then we got the bus to go into York, to go to get some dinner.
Yeah.
And he was doing okay, but then we got on the bus, he has a disability buggy as well, because for his safety really, because it's really hard to walk down the street with him, and he'll just run off.
Yeah.
So we took that, and then he got out of it on the bus, I think, if I can remember. And then we got him back into it, and I think he just wanted to, when we went to get off the bus, when we got to York, he wanted to get back on the bus. Yeah. And he had this almighty meltdown. Right. Like, I think it was just a combination of a day of travelling, going to the museum, hotel, all these different things. And he just had this almighty meltdown, and we just picked the nearest restaurant that we were closest to, because we were all starving as well. That probably contributed as well. And he was still kicking off, and we just went straight into Pizza Hut. And it was quite a small restaurant, and there was quite a few families there, but he was screaming, he was shouting, he was kicking me. And then I just we got placed into this into our area where we were going to sit, and the staff there were absolutely brilliant. They didn't even bat an eyelid. I was just absolutely mortified, because I just felt his voice echoing around this restaurant, and I could just see parents, there was families and couples, and they were just looking. I know they're just looking. Obviously you're gonna do that, aren't you? But we sort of sat in this area, and it was a row of a sofa almost, and so then it backed onto another row of tables, and there was a family behind there, and Isaac was still kicking off at this point. And the kids were just looking over. They were stood on the thing looking over, and I just think, can you just tell your kid? I didn't say anything, because obviously I was busy dealing with him, but I was thinking, can you just tell your kids just to stop staring? It's
that's probably not really helpful to him either, is it? You know, when you're in that situation.
And I don't know if that's covers being judged, but do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it did make me feel oh my god, stop.
That
but anyway,
pressure, isn't it?
Like I say, the staff were really good. They didn't bat an eyelid.
That's good.
They gave him some colours and some pens, and he soon calmed down. They were brilliant with him. They could have put us at the back of the restaurant, but they actually put us right at the front. You know, there's so many things they could have done, or they could have even told us to leave maybe, from the way he was kicking off. So that was, I guess that was a positive from that, and then he was fine after that.
Good.
But I just think, can you just tell your kids?
I agree. And Bunny is a starer. She always stares at people, but I always kind of make a point of, right, what you doing, nosy Parker? Come on, no. Or I always say, if you're gonna stare at people, please will you smile, so that they know that you're not just you know, staring and judging, but you're friendly and you're just curious.
I understand a child is curious. They want to know why that child is shouting and screaming. I get it.
But then we have a responsibility as parents to
educate your child,
you know, and be right, come on now, let's not stare in that moment.
I mean, they might have not even been staring for as long as I thought they were, but it was just all the emotions of it. So and I think one other thing I'll just quickly touch on this is, so there's 7 years between my daughter and my son. And a lot of the time between Holly being born and having Isaac was, you know what's coming when you're having another. I hate that question, because especially coming from people that might not know your story, you might have troubles, you know, you might not want to, and you shouldn't have to explain yourself in those situations. So that's one.
I think that's, and it's often asked innocently.
Yeah.
But I think that's definitely a question that there maybe needs to be kind of more awareness around of why it's not really acceptable to ask that for whatever reason. Like you say, you know, there's a whole load of reasons, but and there's this thing, isn't there, of like you have one and then people expect you to have another, but then once you've got 2 or maybe 3, if you have any more than that, it's like you can't win, can you?
You can never win.
Age gap is something that's come up a few times now as well, because that's another thing that there seems to be this thing around of what age gap you should have.
Yeah.
But I mean, what is the right age gap anyway?
You know, for me, I was not ready to have another child until Holly was 7.
Yeah.
And there was no way I was having 2 toddlers. Or,
Yeah.
you know, even just 4 years apart. Yeah. You know, I couldn't even, which seems to be in quotations the right. Do you know what I mean? It's not, obviously. But that's when me and my husband felt ready to have another child. Yeah. We felt stable enough. Mentally preparing yourself for it. You know, it's a big decision to make, isn't it?
It is.
Luckily we were blessed with our second child. You know.
Yeah. So how did you find it going from 1 to 2?
I found it quite hard.
Did you?
To be fair, I think I would have been okay just having one. Right. In all honesty. Yeah. But at the same time, I wanted to have more than one. Yeah. Yeah, it's been hard. I wouldn't say it's been easy. No. But I love it at the same time. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I only ask because me and my husband always say, you don't expect it to be as hard as it is. I don't think, like, when we now, like, if ever one of them's friends or somewhere, you know, so we've just got the one and we're just parenting the one, we're like, oh my god, this is so easy. Like, in comparison to when you've got both of them together. It's just like, whoa.
Yeah, and I think now their age gap really showed now, because Holly's 13 now. Yeah. She's a completely different child to what she was even just 2 years ago, never mind. And obviously he's 5. Yeah, they're completely different.
Okay, how do you feel about parenting? Good, bad? Has it changed you? Any regrets?
I love being a mum. I love it. It's so, good cliche, rewarding. But it is, because it changed my life. Like, I'm still not the most confident person about myself, but it really did change my life having Holly. It made me a much more confident person. I think it tests your limits. Yeah. Like nothing else in this world. But it's also like, and it's just the responsibility of bringing up these children and making sure you keep them alive, and and you want them to become good people. And I think one thing when I had my daughter, the appreciation for my mum became so much more apparent. You know, I love my mum to bits, but once I had Holly, it makes you realise what your mum's done for you. Well, it did for me personally anyway. And then when I had Isaac, that's changed my life again, because he's a completely different person. And obviously he has his needs. So yeah. And I think, like, having a teenager now, that's like a new
it's a whole new, like,
that's a whole new
playing field, isn't it? I'm not quite there yet. I'm a year behind you, I think. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really hard to, like, let go of her a little bit. Like, she's becoming her own person. Like, she doesn't totally depend on me anymore, and it really is hard to let go. So I'm working through that at the moment.
Yeah.
But you've got to, though. You've just got to learn. Like, you can't control what they do, how they think, or anything like that. No. Not that I would do that. That I've done that anyway.
I think, though, you can, like, when people talk about parenting, you kind of, I guess, I don't know if condition's the right word, but you kind of think that you're the parent, you're in charge, you're this, you're that. But in reality, we don't own them. No. We're just raising them, and like you say, they are their own people, and we've got to let them be who they are, and we've got to let them make mistakes, and they'll do stuff that might not necessarily be the right thing. That's not also necessarily a reflection on us. Like, there's so much more to it than how society leads you to think parenting is.
Yeah, definitely. You like I say, you've got to let them do their own thing.
Yeah.
As much as hard as you don't want them to make any mistakes.
Yeah.
But they have to, and that's part of life, isn't it? That's how we learn.
Yeah.
So and I don't have any regrets about anything that I've done, because I think, like a lot of people have said, you would be where you are today if you hadn't made the decisions that you have made.
Yeah.
They might have not always been the best decisions, or they might have been the right decisions, but I think it's a waste of time regretting things, because you've just got to learn and move on.
That's it, isn't it? And if you hold on to that regret, it just kind of, I guess it can eat away at you, and it's not really helpful, is it, in the long run? So is there anything in your life that has shaped how you parent that you're happy to talk about? Any situations, circumstances that have affected this?
So I've not had any major life events that have affected me, I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess the main and obvious one is Isaac and him being diagnosed with autism.
Yeah.
So this time last year, we were just on the beginning of our journey of getting Isaac diagnosed.
Yeah.
And probably say March last year, autism wasn't even on my radar. Okay. I thought he had ADHD, which he might still have, but I've had to learn a whole new thing. Yeah. I was very naive about autism. I didn't really know much about it. So I've had to go out and educate myself about autism and how it affects people to be able to parent my child in an effective way, I guess.
Yeah. And can I just say, I feel like, so I didn't know that you didn't know anything about autism. I feel like you've been very proactive in your learning, and like, I think like just what you've said there about you've had to learn all that so that you can parent him effectively, which maybe to you think that's just what I need to do, but not everyone would do that. And from, obviously I follow your page on Instagram, which I'll link below, but the stuff that you put on, like, you've taught me loads.
Oh, really?
So so like, because when you're not going through it, I mean, obviously I had some knowledge because of what I used to do and speaking with parents and stuff like that, but when you're not in that situation, it's hard to kind of fully understand. I guess you can't fully understand.
You can't, no.
So like through all your posts and stuff, and even like other Instagram profiles that you shared and that, there's loads that I've followed, and I've learned so much from that, and that's kind of helped me to, I guess, try and be supportive of other people as well.
That's really good.
So like to say for you to say that you didn't know anything before, like I was like, oh, you know,
no,
like so
no, I didn't know anything, and that's the reason why I set up that page. You know, before I did, I followed a few accounts that I just come across. Yeah. I don't even know how I came across them now, and I thought maybe I should do that. I'll give it a go. What have I got to lose? Yeah. And it's only going to help me learn about it as well, and you know, what you just shared there, you know, like it's helped you as well in some way. That, you know, it's amazing to me. Like, I try to share honest posts, how it actually is in real life. You know, you can do courses, you can read textbooks, you can Google it, but from an actual parent's point of view, from Isaac's point of view, what he's going through. Obviously, I'd never put anything on there like him having a meltdown or anything like that, because no one needs to see that. But yeah, that's that is the best thing I've done, setting up that page, because there's so many amazing parents out there that...
I was going to say, do you feel like you found like a supportive community from doing that as well?
This community I found on Instagram, to do with autism, neurodiversity, it's opened my eyes to a lot of things as well that I knew nothing about.
Yeah.
And it really helps me understand why Isaac does things.
Yeah.
And then seeing other children that are similar to Isaac, I think, right, okay, it's not just Isaac doing that. Yeah. And it becomes relatable, and I feel confident to share things about Isaac, and then that's going to help somebody else, So it's, this community I found, they're absolutely amazing. All those mums, so shout out to the, the amazing autism mums. It's brilliant. And it's just, I'm just obsessed with it now. I'm obsessed with learning everything about it. Like, I need to know more all the time, because it's really helped me so much to understand.
And that's it. And you doing that, that's only ever going to be beneficial to him, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the more that you do that and support him, the not easier it's going to be, because it's not, but the more understanding and stuff, I guess, and it's going to, I guess, help your own parenting journey, isn't it?
And I think before Isaac's autism diagnosis, I was very, like, I still struggled to take him out, because I'd get almost embarrassed, or if he was like running off or doing something he shouldn't, and it's given, his diagnosis is sort of given a reason why he acts like this. It's not just being a naughty child. And it's made me feel less guilty about it, I guess.
Yeah. So how did you feel when you got that diagnosis, or when you were on the path to getting that diagnosis?
It was like a weight was lifted. Yeah. Once we got the diagnosis, once it clicked, like, oh my God, this is autism. Once I started looking into it a little bit, it's like, he is autistic. So I was. It was like a weight was lifted when we got the diagnosis. Yeah. If they said it wasn't, I'd have been mortified. I think, and like, what's going on then? What, and we were very lucky in how quickly we got diagnosed. Like, a lot of people are waiting a very long time, and we had it done within 6 months. Right. Don't ask me how, I have no idea. So I'm eternally grateful, and it was just as he was starting school as well, so he's got all the support at school now as well. Do
you think you would have found starting school really hard if you hadn't have had that diagnosis? Do you think that would have made a difference?
I think so, yeah. I think if he hadn't been diagnosed, I honestly don't know how it would have gone down with school, to be honest. I mean, he's done really well. He's done so much better than I thought. Yeah. But I don't know if that's because he has the diagnosis and he's got the support. Yeah. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know how it would have been. Or would have just left him to do his own devices? I don't know. He's not got a diagnosis. But it would have been obvious, his struggles and stuff. So, I don't really know.
How have you found, I presume you found it different, obviously, parenting Holly to how you have Isaac. Yeah. How has that, affected you at all? Or how have you managed that, even just expectations? Because I think one thing I'm finding the more and more I speak to people is something that kind of affects everybody is you have these expectations, and then when they don't kind of happen, that's where it starts how did you kind of
I think I parent them both completely differently. With Holly, I wouldn't say I'm not a strict parent by any means, but I think I'm more relaxed with Isaac now. I let him get away with things. He needs a lot more patience, and with Holly, I feel like I am maybe a bit harder on her sometimes, but maybe prior to diagnosis, I think I am a bit more relaxed with her now.
Yeah.
But I definitely do parent them different because they're completely different children, they're completely different ages, and you know when Holly's going into teenage years, obviously that's a new thing that we're dealing with. And how I'll parent Isaac when he goes into his teenage years, I think will be completely different. Yeah. I can't predict the future. I don't know how he's going to be. I don't know how he's going to develop. But I definitely parent them differently.
So just going off track a little bit here. Talk to me about teenage years. So maybe I don't want to go into this conversation, but I am kind of curious because obviously the Wildcat's 12. Yeah. We are heading there. I'm noticing stuff already and stuff. So how have you found that so far? So I guess you're kind of on the cusp, if you will. She's 13.
She's only just turned 13 in May, but I think for the past 2 years, she's definitely been a preteen.
Yeah.
She's just changed, and I almost mourn her a little bit. I know that sounds really extreme.
No, I know what you mean.
But she's just not a little girl anymore. Yeah. And 13 is still young. Like 11, 12, 13 is still very young, isn't it? But the change in them is just, in Holly, is, she's a very bright young girl. She's got loads of friends. It's really hard to describe how she is, I guess. Yeah. She just doesn't she still needs me. She still wants me to give her attention, obviously, and but she doesn't want to sit with us at night time anymore. She just wants to be on her own in a room on her phone all the time.
How have you found that as a parent? Like I know you said you feel like you're mourning that. Yeah. So I guess it's a new season of parenting in that respect, isn't it? Yes. Were you kind of expecting it like this soon, or do you know what I mean? Like, obviously when you're in pre-teen mode, you know it's coming and you're noticing stuff that's coming, but...
I think, to be honest, like, we did go through quite a difficult time with her probably about a year ago. She was just very argumentative and just, not the best to be around, to put it politely. And I found it really hard. I found it really upsetting. I took it all very, very personally. Right. But I'm starting to learn. I think, the past, probably since she's turned 13, I feel like she has mellowed a little bit. Right. I think the leading up to 13 has been the worst bit so far. And she... I've lost my train of thought. So... No, it's gone. It's alright. I do it all the time.
I'm normally it's like mid thing, and I'm like, anyway. So I can't even remember where we're up to now. So what is your biggest value when it comes to parenting?
I'm not sure if it's a value, but it's something that I've learned. You just need patience. I think patience, if you've got patience, it connects to everything else. Yeah. I think since having Isaac, that's the main thing. I've had to have so much patience. So if he's in the middle of doing something and we need to leave, we ain't leaving until he's finished doing what he's doing. Where if that was Holly, I'm like, no, stop, we're going. We're late for school, let's go. Yeah. Whereas Isaac, I have to be patient and just let him finish doing what he's doing, because otherwise it'll just end up kicking off and it'll be even worse than being late. I think being able to sort of sit back and look at the situation as well, like with Holly, if I'm nagging, like, do I need to nag at that? Do I need to tell her to pick her clothes up off the floor for the 15th time? Does it really matter? It's things like that. And I think other ones are just like communication, being able to listen to each other. And I've always been with Holly sort of like, you can always talk to me. I've, even if you think I'll hate you, or if you think I'll be cross.
Yeah, yeah.
I've always tried to instill her that she can tell me anything.
Yeah.
And that's quite important to me. Like, I want her to be able to trust me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, you know, it works both ways, doesn't it? And then you know, like, respect, you know, it all interlinks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
You know, you said on previous podcasts about connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it all just links, you know, you know, there is many parenting values, isn't there?
There is,
and it is hard to choose just one because, you know, they all connect.
Yeah, that's it. And there's so many little things that we do that sometimes we don't even think about that we're doing. And like you say, they all connect together, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. So I think...
what has been your biggest challenge so far?
Sleep.
Yes. I don't know how you manage. Like, when I watch your stories and stuff, and they'll be like, what time that like Isaac's still up, or he'll like didn't go to sleep till early hours of the morning.
I've never known anything like it. It's just unreal some nights. I don't even know I'm still alive. You have to feel like I'm kind of dying from lack of sleep.
It is like a form of torture, isn't it?
So he was a great sleeper up until he was about 6 to 9 months.
Right.
And then from then, probably till, I can't remember exact dates now, cause and you just forget, don't you?
Yeah.
But probably till toddler, he was awake. I just remember he used to wake up at least once in the night.
Right.
And then I think that was when he was starting bottles. And then I realised they might be waking up for the bottle. I don't know. Looking back, I don't know. And then probably in the last when did he get... I'm trying to think now. Probably last 18 months.
Yeah.
We've really struggled with bedtime. Yeah. Really bad. And wasn't going to sleep till like at the latest, probably at the earliest.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Which might be early for some parents, I don't know. But most know. Yeah. But it's some, you know, people in a similar situation to me are in a lot worse position than what we are. But sometimes it would be like 11, 12. Yeah. But we just didn't have evening time. Like, that's when me and most would have our time to sit down, watch TV and fall asleep on the sofa. Yeah. So there was a long period of time that we didn't get our evenings, and that has an effect on Holly as well, because we're trying to deal with Isaac and we couldn't give her the attention she needs. Yeah. So you have that guilt as well, and it was really, really difficult. So once he was diagnosed, we spoke to the paediatrician. We asked for him to be, you know, we shared our, you know, what difficulties we're having, and he has prescribed him melatonin, which helps him get to sleep, and it's been absolutely life-changing. Yeah, like no, you know, I'm not exaggerating. It really has. He goes most of the time. It works, and he goes to sleep no later than 8 o'clock now. Right, and he does still have the odd night where he'll wake up in the night and he'll just be all... He did it the other night. He did it Monday or Sunday. I can't remember now. He woke up, he went to bed fine, and then he woke up at 12:30. Right. And then he didn't go back to sleep. He had a 20-minute... Yeah, it was yesterday. He had a 20-minute nap during the day yesterday and didn't go to sleep till 8 o'clock. So he was awake basically from 12:30 a.m. till 8 p.m. the next day. Wow. I don't know how he does. And he's still going, you know, he's still running about. I don't know how he does it. So, yeah, that's been a big challenge, but it's been so much better in the past few months since being prescribed with melatonin. It's been so much better. We've got our evenings back. I can spend time with Holly if she wants to spend time with us. So, yeah, that was probably, the big thing.
Last question. What do you wish you could change about parenting in general, as in for everyone?
I don't actually believe you can really change parenting because it's very unique for every single person and every single child. I guess from my perspective, I think it would be so much more beneficial for SEN parents, for parents to teach their children more about neurodiversity, and how it affects. Obviously, you don't need to go into details, but just make your children aware that some children are different. Yeah. And I don't know if that's to do with parenting or if I'm just trying to preach here. I'm not.
No, not at all. I think that's a really good point.
But it would, if the whole world, everyone in the world has had a little more understanding about autism and any sort of neurodiverse conditions, it would just, like, as a parent myself that didn't know much about autism, I don't think I was ever judgy about other people with, children with additional needs. But I didn't know enough either, if you know what I mean. I don't think I am such a judgy parent, if you know what I mean. In situations you might see a child in a restaurant with the headphones on, watching an iPad, not talking to it, not interacting with the family. But that's okay because that child is fine. If that child didn't have the iPad and didn't have the headphones on, they might not even be able to go to the restaurant and enjoy family time. And if that's how their family looks, that's fine. If your family doesn't do that, that's also fine. I think if someone sees a child having a meltdown in Asda or something, don't just look past and tut and like, oh my god, look at them. Just stop and just think for a moment. That's probably not a child. That child might have some additional needs, and that parent might be really struggling there and doesn't know what to do themselves. And that was definitely me. So that'd be good.
And I guess it's just as well about the world being more accessible and inclusive, really, absolutely. Isn't it? Like, I know there's a whole big thing going on at the minute with all the protests and stuff like that, but it's just that awareness, and I think there is a lot more awareness now than there was. I wouldn't say there's enough, but that inclusivity as well, and like you say, just people being aware of why the other families have got stuff, why they're doing what they're doing in different situations and stuff definitely. Like that.
Yeah, it's like going back to my page, that's one of the reasons why I've done it as well, because I post as though I'm posting to myself before I knew about autism. To educate myself, if you know what I mean. I just think, right, how can I tell past Rachael about this? And that's my perspective of. So it comes across. I try to anyway. I don't know if it comes across.
No, it does.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something, I've forgotten it. And it's just, I guess, that thing of, well, like, when we kind of, so I always say, like, treat your social media like a newspaper. You kind of, follow what you want to see and stuff, but at the same time, I think it's important to, when it comes to stuff like parenting, it's always good to kind of see other family situations, and that's definitely. Kind of like why I do this podcast like this, to kind of highlight how differently we all parent in our different situations, and you can learn so much from other people that aren't like you.
Definitely.
And it's that thing of, you don't need to judge other people that aren't the same as you. You don't need to feel insecure. We're just all doing our own thing differently, and I find it so beneficial, like when I follow your page and then the other pages I found off yours, like I said, we're not in that situation, but I've learned so much,
Yeah.
and that awareness and understanding,
Yeah.
and probably going back a few years, I wouldn't maybe have followed those pages and just think, it doesn't apply to me.
It doesn't affect you, so why should you need to? Yeah.
But when you do, and I always kind of try and look at pages and stuff, and that are a bit different to me now, to kind of learn and see what other situations there are, and just gain that understanding. Then when you're out in the world, you kind of recognise stuff more, and then again it's that supportive thing of like, you know, if a parent needed anything when you're out and about, it's like, that's fine, you know. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm kind of, as usual, going the long-winded way of explaining what I'm trying to say.
Not at all, no. It's a great point, you know. You can't just... a lot of people say stay in your lane, but you can stay in your own lane, but you can also look at, like you say, look at other people's situations, and you know, what you see someone else do, you might think, oh, that might help me. Yeah,
exactly.
And it might have been something that you'd never even thought of before.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I can't think of an example right now, but you know, that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just like you say, when you're out and about, it's, if you do see someone or a parent that looks like they're struggling a little bit, like, just give that knowing nod, or just don't stare, or if it's appropriate, go over and see if they want help, and if they don't, then that's fine too, you know. It's just, in a perfect world, everyone would just help each other and be happy and smiling, but you know, obviously we know it's not. But
I find so much with parenting that we get so defensive, and I guess there's this whole thing of good parent, bad parent, and when we see other people doing different stuff, it triggers those insecurities, and it's like, and some people can either look at that as a, you know, and think, oh, right, but I find a lot of people, it triggers those insecurities, so it's like, why are they doing that? And you know, I think we sometimes need to just remember that other people aren't a reflection of us, and we're all just doing our thing, aren't we? You know?
We're just, none of us know
just
what
trying
we're doing.
to get through.
We're just trying. We're just really trying to do our best, and that, you know, that's all we can do. And we're going to make mistakes and make wrong decisions, and like you say,
and that's okay.
That's fine.
You know, we're human, aren't we? And
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, bro. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it.
Fantastic. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to follow, review and share with other parents you know. You can now listen on Apple, Spotify, Amazon and Google Podcasts, and we now are also on YouTube. I'm slowly uploading the episodes. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please get in touch via any of my social media channels, website or email. Thank you, Rachel, for joining me on today's podcast. It's been great to have you, and thank you to everyone for listening.